My grandpa's last letter was only 1 page, but it changed my whole life. He wrote one sentence that made me stop fearing mistakes forever. If you've ever felt scared of failing, this story is for you. Welcome to Easy English Official. In today's video, we will learn English through one of the most powerful life lessons I have ever received. It is not only a story about my grandfather's final message, but also a chance for you to grow your English skills step by step. Here, you will find words that are simple, but carry deep meaning for both language and life. This is not just a lesson, it is a journey. As you listen, you will discover how to understand new words, how to use them in real life, and how to feel stronger about your own mistakes. Stay with me, because each chapter will bring you closer to learning English and closer to living with courage. Chapter 1. The Letter. My grandfather's letter came to me on a quiet afternoon, and I remember the way my hand shook as I opened it. The paper was old and the ink was fading, but the words inside carried more power than anything I had ever read before. It was his final gift, written in simple English that even I could understand. Little did I know that one message could stay in my heart forever. The letter began with kindness, as if he were sitting right beside me, talking softly. He didn't write about money or success or fame, but about the courage to live honestly. He wanted me to remember that life is not about being perfect, but about being brave enough to try. The words were gentle, but they struck me with deep strength. I read the first line again and again, "Don't be afraid to make a mess." At first, it sounded strange, almost funny. How could making a mess be good advice? But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that he was not talking about dirt or clutter. He was talking about mistakes, about the times when life feels confusing. He explained that everyone creates chaos in their journey, but chaos is not something to fear. Chaos means you are alive, you are trying, you are learning. He said that when we make mistakes, we open the door to new lessons. Without mistakes, we would never grow stronger. His words made me see errors in a whole new way. In his letter, he called this chaos beautiful. That word surprised me. How could something messy be beautiful? But then I remembered times when I failed at something and learned more than I ever expected. Suddenly, the idea made sense. Mistakes are beautiful because they help us change into better versions of ourselves. He reminded me that the real power is not in avoiding mistakes but in cleaning them up. Life is like painting, he wrote, where the first lines may be rough, but with care and patience, the picture becomes art. We learn to create balance, to fix what is broken, and to keep moving forward. That is the true meaning of growth. As I read further, I felt comfort I had never felt before. My grandfather was telling me that I didn't need to fear failure anymore. I could stop running away from my imperfections. I could accept them as part of my journey. That was a freedom I had never experienced. He wanted me to believe in myself even when things looked messy. He wrote that people who never try will never fall, but they also will never rise. The secret of life is to take action, fall, and rise again. Only then do we truly discover who we are. Those words filled my heart with courage. The letter also spoke about kindness to oneself. He said we are often too hard on ourselves when we make mistakes. But if we can forgive our own mess, we can forgive others too. That is how relationships grow stronger, through understanding and compassion. His advice was not just for me, but for everyone who ever felt not good enough. When I finished reading, I sat in silence for a long time. I felt like my grandfather was still alive, still guiding me. His letter became more than just paper. It became a voice that stayed with me every time I felt afraid. Whenever I doubted myself, I remembered those lines. That day, I promised myself that I would never again let fear of mistakes control me. I would learn to welcome the chaos of life, to see beauty even in failure. My grandfather's message gave me a strength I had been missing. It was like a light turning on inside me. Now, every time I face a challenge, I hear his words. They remind me to keep trying, to keep learning, to keep creating my own story. Life will always be messy, but it will also always be beautiful. And because of him, I am no longer afraid to live it fully. Chapter 2. Understanding the Message. When I read my grandfather's words about making a mess, I realized I needed to understand what he truly meant. The letter was short, but every line carried hidden lessons. I wanted to look deeper into the meaning, to break the message into small pieces I could use every day. That was the beginning of my real learning. The first lesson was about courage. My grandfather knew that fear can stop people from trying new things. He wrote that fear is like a wall, keeping us away from opportunities. But when we take one step, even if it is small, the wall starts to break. That is how courage grows inside us. The second lesson was about learning from mistakes. Mistakes are not the end, they are the start of new understanding. My grandfather wanted me to see mistakes as teachers. Every error gives us a chance to ask, what can I do better next time? That is how knowledge becomes wisdom. The third lesson was about patience. He reminded me that cleaning up a mess takes time. We cannot fix everything in one moment. Just like learning English, we need practice, day by day. With patience, the impossible becomes possible. The fourth lesson was about creativity. He compared life to painting or music, where mistakes can turn into something beautiful. Sometimes the wrong note makes a new song. Sometimes the wrong brushstroke creates new art. Life is the same, mistakes can become masterpieces. The fifth lesson was about strength. My grandfather explained that strong people are not those who never fall. Strong people are the ones who rise again after falling. Each time we stand up, we prove to ourselves that we are stronger than yesterday. That is the true meaning of power. The sixth lesson was about kindness. He wanted me to remember to be gentle with myself when I fail. If I can treat myself with compassion, I can also give that kindness to others. In this way, one small act of love spreads into many lives. The seventh lesson was about growth. He wrote that growth is often invisible, like seeds under the soil. We may not see changes right away, but they are happening. Every mistake, every effort, is part of a hidden process that later blooms into something new. The eighth lesson was about freedom. He said that when we stop fearing mistakes, we become free. We are no longer trapped by the need to be perfect. We can try new things, meet new people, and explore new ideas. That freedom makes life exciting. The 9th lesson was about connection. My grandfather wrote that everyone makes mistakes, no matter who they are. When we accept our own mess, we feel closer to others. We realize that we are all human, all learning, all walking on the same road together. The 10th lesson was about hope. He reminded me that no matter how big the mess looks, there is always a way forward. Hope is the light that helps us keep going. Without hope, mistakes feel heavy, but with hope, they become part of our journey to success. The 11th lesson was about acceptance. He wrote that life is not about controlling every detail. Sometimes things go wrong, and that is okay. When we accept the chaos, we also accept ourselves. That acceptance brings peace to the heart. The 12th lesson was about love. At the end of his letter, I could feel his love shining through every word. He wanted me to know that his advice came from care, not judgment. Love is the root of every lesson, and it is love that makes life worth living. Chapter 3. Applying to Real Life. After reading my grandfather's letter, I began to ask myself how I could use his advice in my daily life. It was not enough to just admire the words. I needed to live them. So I started with small steps, trying to see mistakes in a new way. That was when the journey truly began. The first place I applied his message was in my English learning. Before, I was scared to speak because I thought people would laugh at my mistakes. But I remembered his words, "Don't be afraid to make a mess." I started to speak anyway, and little by little, my confidence grew. At work, I also tried to apply his advice. When I made an error in a project, I used to feel embarrassed. Now I told myself it was part of the process. I focused on fixing the mistake and learning from it instead of blaming myself. Surprisingly, this made my work stronger. In relationships, the message became even more powerful. Sometimes we say the wrong thing or hurt someone without meaning to. Before, I avoided talking about these moments. But now I try to clean up the mess with honesty and apology. This has brought me closer to the people I love. I also applied his advice to hobbies. For years, I wanted to paint but never tried because I thought I had no talent. One day, I picked up a brush and allowed myself to create a messy picture. To my surprise, it felt beautiful. The joy was not in the perfect result but in the act of trying. Cooking became another example. I used to get upset when recipes didn't turn out right. But after the letter, I saw the burned dishes as funny stories. Each mistake in the kitchen taught me something new. And every meal, even the messy ones, was still a moment to share with family. Sports showed me the same lesson. When I tried learning basketball, I missed many shots. But each miss was just part of practice. Soon, I started to celebrate the effort instead of the outcome. This made the game more fun and less stressful. Travel also became easier with his words in my heart. Sometimes plans go wrong, buses are late, or things get lost. Instead of getting angry, I told myself, this is part of the beautiful chaos. Suddenly, even the problems became stories worth remembering. I found that his message also helped with my dreams. I always wanted to try new projects but was afraid of failure. Now, I take action, even if I don't know the final result. Some projects fail, but every failure teaches me something useful for the next one. The letter also changed how I saw other people. When someone else makes a mistake, I remember that we are all learning. Instead of judging them, I try to encourage them. This has created stronger friendships and more kindness around me. Even in quiet moments, when I felt lost or uncertain, the words guided me. I reminded myself that being lost is not the end. It is only part of the path. Every time I clean up my mistakes, I discover a new direction, a new strength. In the end, I saw that applying my grandfather's message was not just about one part of life. It was about everything: learning, working, loving, and dreaming. His advice gave me courage to live fully. And each day, I find new ways to turn mess into beauty. Chapter 4. English Practice Time. When I thought about my grandfather's message, I realized it could also be a powerful way to practice English. Learning a language is often messy. We forget words, mix up grammar, and make pronunciation mistakes. But just like life, every mistake can become part of our beautiful chaos. So let us begin with the key sentence from the letter: don't be afraid to make a mess. Repeat it slowly. Feel the rhythm of the words. This sentence is simple, but it holds a strong truth for both English learning and life. The more we say it, the more it becomes part of us. Now, let us practice the word mess. A mess can mean a dirty room, but here it means mistakes or problems. Say it with me: mess. Think of a time you made a mistake while learning, and remember that is your mess, and it is okay. Next, we look at the word chaos. It sounds big, but it just means things are not in order. Life sometimes feels chaotic, and so does learning English. Say it with me: chaos. Even in chaos, we can find beauty when we keep trying. The word beautiful is one of the most positive words in English. Say it slowly: beautiful. We use it for flowers, for art, for people we love. In the letter, my grandfather called chaos beautiful. That teaches us to see good things even in mistakes. Let us put the words together in short sentences. Say, mistakes are okay. Then say, chaos is beautiful. Finally say, I am learning every day. These short lines are simple, but they are powerful for building confidence in English. We can also practice with daily examples. Say, I made a mistake, but I learned. Say, my English is not perfect, but it is better today. These sentences help you accept your journey. Remember, progress is more important than perfection. Try repeating after me: I am not afraid of mistakes. I can clean up my own mess. I will keep learning with courage. Each of these lines is short, easy, and motivational. They are not just English practice, they are life practice. Another way to practice is to ask yourself simple questions. Say, what mistake did I make today? Then answer. I made a mistake, but I learned from it. This is both language practice and positive thinking practice. It connects English to real life. We can also make the practice playful. Imagine cooking and burning food, then laugh and say, "This is my beautiful chaos." Imagine drawing something strange, then smile and say, "This is my art." English becomes more fun when we connect it to joy. Remember to practice out loud, not just in your head. Speaking helps you feel the words and gain confidence. Do not worry if your accent is different. Your voice has value. Every sound you make is proof that you are learning bravely. Finally, my grandfather's message is not just a lesson to read, but a lesson to repeat. Every time you say, "Don't be afraid to make a mess," you are improving your English and your courage. Keep practicing, keep smiling, and keep building your own beautiful story. Thank you for joining me on Easy English Official today. You have not only practiced English, but also learned a lesson that can stay with you forever. Don't be afraid to make a mess. Life is about learning to clean up your own beautiful chaos. If this message touched you, remember it every time you feel afraid to try. Before you go, I invite you to share this story with someone who might need encouragement. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment about the best advice you have ever received. Together, we can keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating a more beautiful story for our lives. See you in the next video.